Join me as I dive into some motorcycle myths and see if I can debunk the ones you thought were true. When it comes to motorcycles, there's no shortage of myths and misconceptions floating around. The problem is, these myths can be dangerous, leading riders to make poor choices that put themselves and others at risk. That's why it's so important to separate fact from fiction and get to the bottom of these myths. As a new rider, I often hear advice from others that sounded good early on, but as I learn more, I'm able to separate the good from the bad. I've heard so many riders, both new and experienced, who swear by certain facts about motorcycles that just are not true. Like, have you ever heard that you need to warm up your bike for a few minutes before hitting the road? Or that you should always shift into neutral when you come to a stop? These are just a couple of examples, but there are plenty more out there. Let's start with the warming up your bike myth. The idea behind this is that your bike needs a few minutes to get the oil flowing, the engine warm, and everything else ready to go. But the truth is, most modern motorcycles don't need this kind of warm-up time. In fact, most bikes that are fuel injected are ready to ride as soon as you turn the key. However, from my experience with my 2015 KLR 650, which is a carbureted bike, I do need to warm it up. I need to use the choke for a few minutes or the bike won't start or run properly. So as it turns out, for some motorcycles, having the warming up for a few minutes is not a myth at all. Now, what about the saying, loud pipes save lives? Many riders, usually those with loud bikes, swear that having a loud bike will make everyone aware that you are there and therefore safer. From my experience, both in a car and on my motorcycle, when a loud bike has passed me, I never heard the bike coming but was startled when the bike blew past me. Is that safer to startle other drivers and riders? I personally don't think so. And just the other day, I was riding my motorcycle on a 2-lane highway. I had checked my mirrors and saw a vehicle behind me in the distance, which I discovered soon after was a motorcycle. And so when the cruiser went past me quickly without me seeing it, I was startled by the rider and then the noise. I didn't hear it coming at all. Just an interesting side note, there was a 2024 study published in Current Issues in Personality Psychology that found connections between dark personality traits and the desire for loud cars. The findings indicated that young men scoring high in traits such as psychopathy and everyday sadism were more likely to express a desire for loud vehicles, including the willingness to modify their cars to enhance the noise. The study's author, Julie Shermer, hypothesized that dark personality traits would correlate with his behavior, traits such as narcissism, psychopathy, and everyday sadism. Don't get mad at me. I didn't do the study, so I'm not saying anyone with loud pipes is a psychopath. I just think it's interesting. Next up, let's talk about shifting in neutral at stops. This one's a biggie because it's so widely believed. But the fact is, shifting into neutral can actually be pretty dangerous. When you're in neutral, you're not in control of your bike, and that can lead to all sorts of problems, such as not being able to accelerate quickly to escape from danger. Plus, it's just not necessary. Modern transmissions are designed to handle stop traffic without grinding or wearing them down. What about anti-lock brakes? I've heard from a lot of riders that think they're a hassle or that they'll interfere with your ability to control the bike in certain situations. But the fact is, ABS has been proven time and time again to reduce stopping distance and prevent accidents. I don't have anti-locks on my motorcycle and it hasn't been a problem for me yet. And from what I'm starting to learn, it's better for some off-road conditions to not have anti-lock brakes or to have the option of being able to turn them off or disable them. What I do know that as a new rider with very limited experience, I wish my motorcycle had anti-lock brakes to help me in emergency stop. And the last myth, which is a little bit surprising to me, has to be the one about not wearing protective gear in town or for short rides. I mean, it's amazing to me how many riders will ditch jackets just because they're cruising around the neighborhood. I even saw an older guy in a Honda Goldwing in shorts, no shirt, flip-flops, and no helmet. And we have a helmet law here. It was a sight to behold. Maybe he was just riding down the block, I don't know. But I can't imagine how much skin he would have lost if he went down even at low speed. You just can't make this stuff up. The truth is, accidents can happen anywhere at any time, and if you're not protected, you're putting yourself at risk. Now, I'm a beginner and I still feel safer wearing all my gear. I'm not telling you what to wear when you ride your motorcycle, and hopefully you live in a place where the decision is yours and not dictated for you. Determine the risk for what kind of gear you think you need or don't need. To each their own. So there you have it. 5 motorcycle myths debunked. It's amazing how many of these misconceptions are out there and how many riders are putting themselves at risk because of them. But by spreading the word and sharing the facts, we can make our road safer and more enjoyable for everyone. Don't forget to share your own experiences with motorcycle myths in the comments below. Thanks for watching.